Matthieu Blazy has just been named the new artistic director of Chanel, marking a bold new chapter for one of the most iconic fashion houses in history. After months of speculation, Blazy's appointment has the fashion world buzzing. His impressive track record at Bottega Veneta and his deep commitment to craftsmanship suggest he could be the visionary Chanel needs. But can he live up to the towering legacy of Karl Lagerfeld, who transformed Chanel into a global powerhouse, or even the quieter leadership of Virginie Viard? In this video, we'll explore Chanel's journey, the impact of its previous leaders, and what Blazy's appointment means for the future of this legendary brand. Is he ready for the challenge? Chanel is one of those names you just know, even if you don't know fashion. Coco Chanel started the brand in the early 1900s, and her designs changed how women dressed. She made things simple and elegant, but also comfortable. After Coco passed away in 1971, the brand started to lose its spark. It felt old-fashioned and out of touch with what people wanted. Then came Karl Lagerfeld in 1983, and everything changed. Karl didn't just design clothes. He brought Chanel back to life. He took Coco's ideas, like the tweed suits and pearls, and made them feel modern. He added bold colors, made skirts shorter, and played with the famous double C logo, turning it into something you saw everywhere. He even changed how the clothes fit, with stronger shoulders and sleeker shapes that felt very 80s. At the same time, he respected Chanel's history, which made everything he did feel authentic.
Because, the past of Chanel, when I took over, it was forgotten. And now I have to push it where the future goes.
This amazing trompe-l'oeil dress is from Karl's very first collection for Chanel.
Karl wasn't afraid to take risks. He made Chanel cool again by mixing the classic with the trendy. People loved it. Celebrities wore his designs, magazines couldn't stop talking about him, and every Chanel fashion show felt like an event. He didn't just create clothes, he created moments. For over 30 years, Karl's ideas kept Chanel at the top of the fashion world.
Karl was he was able to navigate all these different houses, sometimes simultaneously.
When Karl passed away in February 2019, it was a huge loss. He was 85 and had been working right up until the end. His death hit the fashion world hard because it wasn't just about losing a designer. It was like losing a piece of Chanel itself. Designers, editors, and models shared how much he inspired them. People like Anna Wintour and Claudia Schiffer talked about how creative and hardworking he was. Chanel CEO Alan Wertheimer said Karl's vision helped make Chanel what it is today.
There was no one like Karl. I mean, he was just a completely exceptional person. I mean, he had...
His last collection for Chanel was unforgettable. It had a winter ski theme, and you could tell it was special. There was no big speech or tribute, just a moment of silence and chairs with his image next to Coco Chanel's. Some of the models cried, and the audience was emotional. It was simple, but it said everything. After his death, Chanel named Virginie Viard as the new creative director. She'd worked with Karl for more than 30 years and knew the brand better than almost anyone. Virginie wasn't a flashy choice, and some people were surprised Chanel didn't pick a bigger name designer. But for those who knew the inner workings of Chanel, it made sense. Virginie had been Karl's closest collaborator, his right arm and left arm, as once he said. She wasn't just in the background. She helped bring his vision to life and played a huge part in making Chanel what it was during his reign. Virginie's career started quietly. She grew up in Lyon, France, in a family of doctors, but she found her passion in textiles and fashion. She studied sewing and pattern making and eventually landed a job as an intern at Chanel in 1987, working under Karl. Over the years, she learned everything about Chanel's craftsmanship, the embroidery, the tweeds, the buttons, and the trims that made the design so special. She worked directly with the ateliers, the teams that handmake Chanel's couture collections, and became known for her calm demeanor and organizational skills. Later, she followed Karl to Chloe in the 1990s and then returned to Chanel, where she stayed by his side until his passing. Taking over Chanel after Karl was no small task. His larger-than-life personality and dramatic runway shows set the bar high. Virginie, on the other hand, was more low-key. She wasn't interested in being a celebrity designer or making big, bold statements. Her approach was softer and more subtle. She focused on the clothes themselves, making them wearable and elegant, while staying true to Chanel's heritage. For some, this was refreshing. Her designs felt approachable, and she leaned into the idea of creating clothes that real women could imagine wearing in their everyday lives.
Sort of grown up looking up to, she's been a part of this creative umbrella family for a really long time, and to know that she was going to be fully unbridled.
Her first show as a creative director in May 2019 was a resort collection presented at the Grand Palais in Paris. The set was a replica of a train station, which echoed Karl's love for elaborate staging. The clothes, however, were simpler. There were soft tweed jackets, flowy dresses, and relaxed suits.
Storm. It's so quiet, and then this afternoon it's going to be filled with everyone.
J'adore. I love also like you all the bags.
It felt like a nod to Chanel's history and Virginie's personal touch. The reviews were mixed. Some people appreciated the practicality of the designs, while others felt they lacked the wow factor that Karl brought to his collections.
She isn't trying to be Karl, and I think that's so important to remember, that she's taken his legacy and she's taken Chanel and she's making it absolutely her own.
Over the next few years, Virginie continued to refine her vision for Chanel. She brought in elements that felt more grounded, like the use of soft pastels, looser fits, and minimalist details. She avoided the theatrics of Karl's shows, but kept some of the grandeur, like hosting collections in spectacular locations. For example, her Métiers d'Art 2023 collection took place in Dakar, Senegal, which was Chanel's first ever show in Africa. It celebrated local craftsmanship and brought attention to African art and culture, earning praise for its thoughtful approach. Still, not everyone was convinced. Some critics felt that Virginie's work lacked the excitement and innovation that defined Chanel under Karl. While her clothes were beautiful and well-made, they didn't always make headlines. Her runway shows, which focused more on the clothes than the spectacle, didn't have the same cultural impact. Some said Chanel had become predictable, sticking too closely to its established formulas without pushing boundaries. Despite the criticism, Virginie's team at Chanel wasn't without success. The brand continued to grow under her leadership, with revenues reaching nearly $20 billion in 2023. Sales of ready-to-wear clothing doubled, and the iconic handbags became more coveted than ever, even with steep price increases. Virginie also strengthened Chanel's ties with ambassadors like Kristen Stewart and Margaret Qualley, creating campaigns that felt fresh and modern. One of Virginie's standout collections was the Autumn-Winter 2022 Haute Couture line. It was inspired by equestrian themes, with tailored jackets, flowing skirts, and boots that echoed riding gear. The designs were light, feminine, and practical, staying true to Virginie's style. She emphasized continuity, blending Chanel's heritage with subtle updates rather than dramatic changes. This collection, like much of her work, showed how she preferred evolution over revolution. As time went on, whispers about Virginie's future at Chanel grew louder. Despite her achievements, some in the industry questioned whether her quiet approach was enough to keep Chanel at the forefront of fashion. The brand thrived financially under her leadership. Its revenues nearly doubled, and its ready-to-wear line experienced significant growth. Still, there was a sense that Chanel lacked the bold creative energy that once made it the talk of the fashion world. By early 2024, rumors of a change at the top intensified. Many speculated that Chanel might be preparing to bring in a new creative director who could inject fresh energy into the brand. These suspicions were confirmed in June 2024, when Chanel officially announced Virginie Viard's departure. The company praised her remarkable contribution over her 5-year tenure and emphasized her role in maintaining the brand's creative legacy while driving growth. The statement also mentioned a forthcoming new creative organization, leaving the fashion world buzzing with speculation about who might take her place. As her final collection debuted in June 2024, it marked the end of a chapter for Chanel, a chapter defined by continuity, craftsmanship, and respect for the past. The wait is over. Chanel has named Matthieu Blazy as its new artistic director, and the excitement couldn't be higher. Blazy is no stranger to the fashion world. At just 40 years old, he's already had a stellar career working with some of the biggest names in the industry. He started at Raf Simons and Maison Margiela, where he gained experience in haute couture. He then moved to Celine under Phoebe Philo, later reuniting with Raf Simons at Calvin Klein before joining Bottega Veneta. At Bottega, Blazy made waves with his innovative designs and focus on craftsmanship, turning the brand into one of Milan's hottest names. His work there was known for being bold yet grounded, a mix of technical skill and creativity that earned him widespread praise. But Chanel is a whole different challenge. Blazy will oversee everything from haute couture to ready-to-wear, accessories, and more. A staggering 10 collections a year. The pressure is immense. Chanel isn't just any brand. It's a symbol of luxury, with revenues of nearly $20 billion in 2023. His ability to balance creativity with commercial success will be put to the ultimate test. Blazy seems ready. He's known for his dedication to craftsmanship and materials, which aligns perfectly with Chanel's heritage. The brand's leaders have called him one of the most gifted designers of his generation, praising his innovative vision and personality. But the question remains, will he be able to live up to the legacy of Karl Lagerfeld, whose influence on Chanel, a fashion as a whole, was unmatched? So what do you think about Matthieu Blazy taking the reins at Chanel? Will he bring the fresh energy the brand needs, or will the shadow of Lagerfeld prove too big to overcome? Replacing a genius like Karl is no small task, and the future of Chanel is sure to be fascinating to watch.